In the desolate, mist-shrouded landscapes of coastal England, where ancient paths meandered through lonely fens and wind-swept moors, a chilling legend lingered. It was the tale of the Black Shuck, a spectral hound of immense size with a single glowing eye, said to be a harbinger of doom. Yet the true horror of this legend was not its menacing appearance, but a curse born from a profound act of unacknowledged terror. The story of the Black Shuck. This was a curse that slowly consumed a person with the same fear and isolation that had claimed its victims' lives. Our story begins with Julian Croft, a cynical and ambitious urban explorer obsessed with uncovering sensational stories. Julian saw the Black Shuck not as a spiritual terror, but as a backdrop for a viral video, a stage for his own fame. He scoffed at the locals' warnings of its curse, dismissing their fears as primitive superstition. He was determined to spend a night in the ruins of a small medieval chapel where the Black Shuck was said to have appeared in a flash of lightning, claiming the lives of 2 people. Julian, in his arrogance, set up his cameras in the heart of the desolate chapel. He mocked its grim history, scoffing at the villagers' tragic fate, claiming their terror was merely a footnote in a sensational story he was about to tell. He believed his sacrilege would prove his intellectual superiority and make for a compelling, irreverent video. As Julian returned home, a subtle, insidious change began to plague him. He found himself filled with a profound, gnawing sense of fear. He would have sudden, vivid flashes of a chilling terror and a desperate longing for connection. His health, once so vibrant and full of purpose, now felt frail and distant. He was not physically ill, but spiritually hollow, a ghost in his own life. The true curse of the story of the Black Shuck was a spiritual infection of unacknowledged terror. The villagers in their last moments had been consumed not just by the spectral hound, but by the ultimate injustice of a world that had forgotten their fear. Julian, by mocking their memory, had spiritually connected himself to their torment. The curse was an insidious psychological horror that slowly infected his mind with the same isolation and despair that had claimed their lives, turning him into a living host for the echoes of their final moments. Driven to despair by his own mental decline and the relentless persecution that plagued his life, Julian sought the counsel of a reclusive historian who understood the ancient ways. The historian explained that Julian had not simply made a video. He had committed a spiritual crime. The villagers were victims of immense tragedy, and Julian had violated their memory. The only way to lift the curse was through a profound act of humility and an honest embrace of their suffering. Humbled and broken, Julian made a desperate decision. He returned to the ruins alone. In the dead of night, he knelt in solemn silence, not as a cynic, but as a penitent. He offered a small prayer, acknowledging the injustice of the villagers' fate and the profound arrogance of his own actions. He built a small memorial, a simple cairn of stones, honoring their memory and acknowledging their suffering. As he completed his act of restitution, a profound sense of peace washed over him. The spiritual isolation lifted, and his purpose returned, not as a drive for fame, but as a profound sense of duty to tell the truth. The story of the Black Shuck, its memory finally honored, released its grip. Julian lived the rest of his life not as a celebrated historian, but as a quiet advocate for justice and truth, forever changed by the spiritual battle he had fought. The legend endures as a grim reminder that some curses are not brought by a monster's strength, but by its insidious psychological hold, and that the greatest battles are sometimes fought within the mind itself. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.